Anne Green, and I'm a holistic nurse, a Reiki master, a freelance health writer, the founder and chapter leader of the Lancaster American Holistic Nurses Group. It's my very great pleasure to welcome you all. The American Holistic Nurses Group is not just for nurses. It's for anyone who's interested in a mind, body, spirit connection to health and well-being. And we welcome everyone. So thank you so much for coming. I've got a few announcements. This is really exciting. This is the first time, tonight is the first time, we are actually videotaping our presentations so that we can post them on our website, coming up website, and also YouTube. So we think we've got such tremendous presentations when our speakers talk that we just don't want it to disappear into the ether for people who can't come, and also just to sort of have it out there as a reference to raise the consciousness and educate people. So we're really looking forward to that today. I want to thank everybody, thank our people at the table, thank my husband David for his technical stuff, thank Dr. J for coming out from New York, and everybody. Our sponsors, in fact we have some of our sponsors in the audience. We've got Kendra and Jacqueline from Natural Awakenings, they sponsor us with an ad, and Lynn Russell from Sage is also a sponsor. So big thanks to all of you. We're going to be doing this. This is going to be a different kind of meeting than we used to do, where we'd have the business meeting and then we'd have the presentation. And the business meetings are a real drag for most people, including me, to get through. But what we're going to do is we're just going to make a couple of announcements, and we have changed our sort of structure, our organizational structure, so that now we have a council of three people working with, or three of us all together, having monthly meetings. And at those monthly meetings, we'll do all the business stuff. And then we will schedule a large meeting. You know, some of you were asking me about the meeting we were going to have at the snowstorm. That's going to be scheduled in May, and that will be in the newsletter. So we look forward to having you out there and getting your input and your suggestions for our next year's programs at that meeting. Coming up in April, we have two events. One is on April 28th. We have Juanita Forbes. Juanita, you want to stand up and tell people about your workshop?
Okay, I'm going to be doing the workshop on the work of iron caving. Are any of you familiar with iron caving? Okay. I'm going to be doing a workshop on that, and it's basically questioning your negative thoughts and how to deal with them so you don't have them anymore. And accepting reality as it is. So it should be a really interesting workshop. You guys hear me? I'm going to really need this. So I think it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be an interactive, so that everybody will be taking part in doing it and learning and how to do it when you go home. If you're interested, you can Google the work of iron caving before the meeting, get an idea about it. So I hope to see you all there.
And that's on April 28th at Sage Continuing Education Center, 719 Old Hickory Road in Lancaster, from 6:30 until 8:30. And our other presentation in April is going to be a Caregivers Day of Renewal and Retreat presented by Ann Backup, PhD, and Melanie Sharper, MFA. Ann, do you want to tell us a bit about the retreat?
Terry, there's a switch on the microphone.
We've got flyers in the back here. We'd like to bring them home with you. This is a full day of looking at your image of who you are as a caregiver. How does it tire you out? How do you use the energy to gain your value? How do you interact with different relationships in your life based on being a caregiver? And then using movement we'll work out the energy until it becomes visible, and you'll see, oh, how do I use this energy either to deplete myself or to build myself up so that I can keep going. So thank you very much.
And that is going to be on Saturday, April 30th at the Amethyst Retreat Center, which is 44 Buffalo Creek Road in Duncannon, PA. That's about 15 minutes north of Harrisburg. So if you're interested in that, there's flyers in the back. I've got one more little thing. They're going to be doing a health and wellness fair at Luther Acres, and I was asked by Becky Rowe, who's the wellness specialist over there, if we could please ask our people if they're interested. Their workshop is also on April 28th, same day as our workshop, but it's earlier in the day. There's seminars from 8:30 until 11:15, and then from 11:30 until 3:30, they're doing having the health fair. So if you have any interest in participating in that, I just said I would pass around a sheet to give to Becky Rowe at Luther Acres, and she would be in touch with you. I know she's particularly looking for anybody who does reflexology. She also wants somebody who can do blood sugars. And she doesn't have any aromatherapists either. So she's looking for, and they do a nice, I think, I don't know if anyone else has been, Maria was there before you were at Luther Acres for their health fair. It's a pretty nice health fair. And the public is invited. So if you want to, Terry is going to pass that around. Okay? Okay, great. Now we can get to the good part. We are really, really pleased to be able to present Dr. Jairam Thimmapuram discussing his research on the effect of heartfulness meditation on burnout, emotional wellness, and our DNA. Dr. J is an academic hospitalist at WellSpan York Hospital, and he's got a particular interest in research. He also is a meditator and does and teaches heartfulness meditation. So, that, Dr. J?
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm going to talk about a very unique research study that we did at York Hospital using heartfulness meditation as an intervention to measure burnout, emotional wellness, and our telomere length. I'll come to the details of each and every aspect in a minute. But before that, I want to start with saying a few words about how I got interested in meditation. Can you hear me? Yes. I started practicing meditation when I was 18. It's almost 20 years now. My dad, who's a retired professor of zoology, he was meditating and he used to observe him. And there were many times when I made fun of him. It looked silly. Sitting down, closing eyes, doing nothing. It looked silly. At the age of 18, my curiosity is what led me to meditation. I wanted to see what meditation is about. I wanted to see what it actually does to a person. And when I started it, I did not feel anything except body aches. I wanted to open my eyes and run away from any of the meditation sessions. The only thing that that really helped me, I think, was perseverance. I carried on, though it did not make much visible effect. it did not show any visible effects to me. For about 4 weeks, that was the case. And after 4 weeks, there was one session which was really wonderful. It was a meditation session with one of the meditation trainers. It was for about half an hour. If I had to give a description to what it felt like, it was almost as if my mind was removed, dipped in pure water, put back in again. Such a clarity, such a feeling I never had before. This is what made me think that meditation has something real in it. It's not a close your eyes thing. You feel something during meditation. It is the experience of meditation which proves the benefit of meditation, which proves that there is something to it. It is not intellect driven, it is driven by experience. My mind often questioned, even after having a lot of good experiences, whether this is real. Subjective experiences and objective evaluations are two things that we go by. Subjectively, meditation made me feel good. Objectively, my profession deals with dealing with patients. There were examples. There was one situation which I clearly remember. I was sitting in the hospital cafeteria. There were two ladies that came over and said, Dr. Jay, we want you to come and see our mom. So I went there. She was in one of the cardiac floors in the hospital. I recognized her. I took care of her for 3 months prior to this episode. We had a really good talk. And as soon as I came out of the room, his two daughters, they came out. They asked me, Dr. J, do you know why we wanted you to come and see our mom? I said, I do not know. They said, when you were taking care of our mom, we all felt peaceful. It was in 2 days that I took care of their mom, but the experience that they had was not related to my abilities as a physician, my knowledge. It was about what I felt in the presence of other person. And this I can only attribute to a simple practice of meditation that I do on a daily basis. And having said that, have I always done the practice really well? No. During my residency period, I did not do my practice well at all. But once I finished my residency, there was one change that I wanted to make for myself, which was going to bed early. When I went to bed early, I was waking up early. When I woke up early, I had time to do my meditation. When I did my meditation, the state or the condition that it produced during that 30-45 minute period not only tended to last during the meditation session, but it carried on even during work. And when the condition carries on, the way we behave, the way we deal with situations makes a big difference. The state that we are in makes a big difference. If we are in a state of turbulence, the way we deal with situations is different. If we are in a state of inner calmness, if we experience that state of inner calmness, the way we deal with situations is different. I think this is what helped me. Now let's start off with our presentation. First slide, please. With this as a background, we started a research study on residents, faculty members, and nurses. We measured what is termed as burnout. Burnout is a very, very frequently used term these days, where we feel a sense of emotional exhaustion, there is depersonalization, and a feeling of lack of personal accomplishment. This is a syndrome which is called burnout, and Christina Maslach brought it up back in 1981. Next one. And if we look at burnout by specialties, about more than half of the physicians have burned out, at least at any given time. And if we take the nurses, 1 in 4 nurses have expressed an intention to quit at some point in their lifetime. studies were done in the hospitals. This is how we feel on certain days, or most of the days. A little bit of, a little strand holding us together, ready to snap. It is also the way we feel sometimes. Now, what is it that causes heaviness? So what is it that causes heaviness? If you look at the picture, it clearly tells us what is it that causes heaviness. If our mind is filled with clutter, that's what causes heaviness. If we can somehow get rid of the clutter, we should be able to see the reality as it is. In that case, the puppy is seeing reality, whereas we are not. It's self-explanatory. We often want change to happen, but we want others to change. We do not want to change ourselves. Is there any data from research studies which has shown effect of meditation? Well, there is a lot of data. If you look at burnout and stress, there are at least 2 studies which have shown an improvement in burnout and stress. I'd like to bring to your attention one very interesting study called Mind Over Milkshake study. I'm sure some of you know this study. Alice Crum, what she did is she made a milkshake and she put the same milkshake in 2 different containers. One was called Sensi Shake, the other one was called Indulgence. The Sensi Shake, she said, had 104 calories, and the Indulgence, she said, it had 620 calories. The first one, she said, it's fat-free and guilt-free. The second one, she said, it's rich, creamy, fatty, and it can cause the decadence you deserve. She divided the population group or the study group into 2 groups, Group A and Group B. Group A received Sensi Shake, Group B received Indulgence, and she measured the hormone levels of ghrelin. Ghrelin is the hunger hormone. Logic says, if you have the same milkshake, the response should exactly be the same, no matter what you think you are having. Well, it's not the case. There was a 3-fold difference between Group A and Group B based on what they thought they were having rather than what they actually had. So if thought can have such an effect on a measurable parameter, imagine what it can have on a lot of parameters that we don't measure. If we take thought into consideration, it is the very fundamental basis on which meditation is based on. Thoughts lead to actions, actions lead to habits, habits lead to our character, character leads to our destiny. If there is a way in which we can change our thought or refine it, it is very possible that our actions get a bit refined, our habits get a bit refined, our character gets a bit refined, and hopefully we attain a refined destiny. Now what happens to the brain? There are studies which showed that there is a significant change in the thickness of the cortex of the brain. Cortex is the information processing area of the brain. There is also changes in the gray matter, which is the deeper areas of the brain with meditation. And there is data on age-related cognitive decline showing that meditation slows cognitive decline. There is changes in the immune system, decreased depressive symptoms, and there are effects on anxiety and panic as well, and stress reduction in healthcare professionals. Now, there is also data on telomeres and meditation. If you look at the picture there on the left, there is a chromosome with the red part on it, or rather orange reddish part. That's the telomere. It's like a cap on the tip of our DNA. As age advances, it decreases in size. It is also found out that stress reduces our telomere length. And no wonder they say stress can take out 10 years of our life. Now, 2 studies which used meditation as an intervention showed that there is a significant change in these telomeres with meditation. This is the fundamental basis why we use telomeres as one of the measurable parameters for our study at York Hospital. And some of you may be familiar with this. I do not have an authentic study published, but this is what I found out online, that water behaves in a different way based on the suggestions that we offer to the water. The way in which it responds to kinder words is a bit different to the way in which it responds to not so kind words. Now, when the studies came and they got published, there was a criticism to begin with. Hey, people who meditate, they're weird to begin with. Most of them, they're vegetarians, for God's sake. So the changes that we are seeing could just be their own change because they have a good lifestyle. So let's take a group of people who never meditated before, measure the parameters, train them with meditation for about 8 weeks and remeasure those parameters. And within 8 weeks, the changes that were seen in meditators were seen after 8 weeks of meditation training in the studies. Now, with regards to burnout, Maslach, she summarized it in a very nice way. She said, if all the knowledge and advice about how to beat burnout could be summed up in one word, that word would be balance. A balance between giving and getting, balance between stress and calm, balance between work and home. It is exactly this that we use in meditation. We try to balance our existence. What should we do? Well, maybe start prescribing yoga, breathing exercise, talk to your friend. Meditation is also being offered to highly stressful environments such as military. That's my son, Rohan. He started. My wife took this picture. Her timing was really good. Now, being on the medical side, I was always interested in trying to find out what happens to the physiological system when someone meditates. Now, I was asked to come over as a subject to Dayton, Ohio. Dr. Reddy, he's a pulmonary critical care specialist. He was doing a research study on meditation and EEGs. So this is the EEG that was taken during my meditation session, and it's about 3 minutes long. Sorry, it's a bit long. It's the previous one. It's the previous one. Yeah. And it's volume. It's audio.
It's still accentuate after the movement. So. Yes, it's getting into stage 1 sleep. It's again, it goes to this segment is kind of stage 1 sleep. Still state. This may be, this kind of rhythm is called a K complex. So if you have this kind of rhythm in between, that's indicates stage 2. Yeah, you're in stage 2 now. This is called delta waves. If you have these waves, if you have more than 50%, then it's stage 3. This is stage 2. Stage 3 is kind of deep sleep or sushupti. In sushupti, you are not aware of that condition. Normally, we get deeper sleep if we are not aware of it. Oftentimes, we get aware of it. Oh, I slept good. That feeling, memory, comes back later. But in meditation, if you get that, that's really deeper meditation. And that's where you get all the answers of what you're looking for. Prajnana knows this. Knowledge of the knowledge of what you're looking for, you will get revelations. Whereas if you go into REM sleep, then you get, you're almost not up there, but there are some delta waves are there, but not completely stage 3. Everything there. It's still stage 2. Stage 2. This may be stage 3. No wonder you felt deep. This is stage 3, Amma. See how many delta waves are there? If you count them, it's more than 50%. See how accentuates powerful is. That makes you're consciously aware of that condition. That's an awakening of your true consciousness.
So, it was a 25-minute session. Let me explain it a little bit. Normally we have the alpha waves, which is our predominant waveform. When we close our eyes and go to sleep, we go into stage 1 sleep. It usually takes some time. And to get into the deepest stage, stage 3, if everything works out well, then it takes about close to 90 to 120 minutes. With this meditation, it was a 20-25 minute meditation. I was able to get into that state within 10 minutes or so. Normally when we are in a state of deep sleep, we are not aware. But this was a situation when I was aware of everything that was going on. If our brain can get into a state of such a relaxed state without losing awareness, isn't it a wonderful state? Isn't it really beneficial for us to relax for a short period of time, get that deepest state of relaxation? And yet, it doesn't take much time.
What are you measuring there? I'm sorry.
So it's the waveforms
So waveforms
of the brain. Waveforms of the brain got connected to the EEG of the brain wave leads. Dr. Reddy, he conducted the research. We get into stage 1, which is the theta waves, and then stage 3, which is the delta waves. And delta is said to be the deepest state of relaxation that we get during sleep. And if we can see the delta waves more than 50%, then stage 3.
Isn't the delta waves whenever the body is doing the healing, the rebuilding of cells?
Yes. And they say delta is the deepest relaxation where a lot of good things seep into the body. And I have a very nice introductory video from Heartfulness website.
Meditation is to think about one thing continuously, without a break if possible. It is a complete thought. What is this complete thought? The idea of meditation being a complete thought can be compared to the process of digging a well. We go on digging until we find water. This implies holding on to a single idea continuously for a while. When we dig a well, what happens? Initially, some rocks and rubbish come out. Then perhaps some old buried things come out. Then some layers of rock come out. Then comes sand, and finally comes water. In the process of meditation, too, we find that many things come to the surface before the essential thing is found. For this, we require patience, we require effort, and of course, we require time. We find that without patience, there is no success in this endeavor.
As an introduction to Heartfulness, I'd like to say a few things. Our life is led by feelings and inspirations, and that is the role of the heart. When we listen to those feelings and capture the inspiration that comes from within, we can master our life by listening to our heart. This exercise of fine-tuning the heart with the mind is done through meditation on the heart, and this is Heartfulness. In short, it is all about experiencing our own inner treasure. It's the experience of one's own inner treasure. This is the basis of meditation. It is not something which is outside. It is right within us, and we can all tap into that. It is experience-based. No matter how much I can tell you about the taste of mango, if you have not had it, it is really, really hard to explain the taste. There is a reason I say all this, because meditation is following the heart, living by one's own heart. Medicine, on the other hand, it's a combination of both science and art. We are all familiar with science part of it. It is guided by our intellect, our head. The art part of it is guided by our heart. We need both. We need a balance between our heart and our intellect, a balance between art and science. A bird cannot fly with two wings. It can fly with only two wings, it cannot fly with one wing. Sorry. If there is a way to get rid of our inner judged thoughts, focus on something which is essential, it is very possible that we can all move in the right direction. With this as a background, we did a study at York Hospital with Heartfulness meditation. The aim was to assess the effects of Heartfulness meditation on physician and nurse burnout, emotional wellness, and telomere length. And we measured burnout using mass spec burnout inventory, which was used in studies before. And the emotional wellness, we measured it with emotional wellness questionnaire, and the telomere length, we measured it using a salivary sample. We received funding from our hospital auxiliary department, and we offer our heartfelt thanks to them. With coming to the methodology, each participant received instructions on Heartfulness meditation. They were given questionnaires which we asked them to fill out at week 0, week 6, and week 12 of the study. We also asked them to provide salivary samples at week 0 and week 12 to measure telomere length. This is the practice information that we gave. A day does not start at the break of dawn. It starts the night before. A well-prepared night will give rise to a better day. with this, if we can meditate for a few minutes before going to bed, hopefully we get a deeper sleep, more relaxed, and it's a good preparation for the day. When we wake up in the morning, we wake up more refreshed, and with that state, if we can meditate, it is very possible that not only the start for the day is good, the condition that we gain with meditation can also be retained for the rest of the day. We also had group meditations in the hospital lecture hall where the participants were encouraged to attend as many sessions as possible with a trainer. And it is almost similar to a gym effect where you have a group of people doing the same thing with a trainer. You also have a trainer effect. During the hospital course, during the day of work, it is very possible that when we go home, we not only take ourselves, we take the stresses and strains along with us when we go home. In that state of mind, if we interact with our family members, I do not think it's going to be a pleasant interaction. If there is a way to get rid of the day's stresses and strains and then start interacting with the family, it's going to be much more productive. At least for me, I can deal with my family circumstances much better if I retreat into my dungeon, do my evening session of cleaning and then interact with my family. And I call it a refreshing session. It's similar to an inner cleaning that happens. With the morning meditation, the practice of meditation is very simple. What we do is we gently close our eyes with a suggestion or supposition that there is a source of light within the heart and try and rest our thought on it for as long as possible. It is very normal for the mind to wander away. If it wanders away, we gently redirect it back to the source of light within the heart. And this is the way we train our mind. The very act of recognition of the mind wandering away is the beginning step. Redirecting it is the second step. When we keep doing it again and again and again in a very gentle and natural way, the wandering tendency of the mind gets better. When the wandering tendency of the mind gets better, our ability to focus gets a bit better. And when we develop the ability to focus, our performance gets a bit better. Now, we can train our mind in several different ways. A pathologist, for instance, train the eyes so well that 1 or 2 abnormal cells under the microscope can lead to a diagnosis. Perfume smellers, they train their noses so well. Wine tasters have trained their sense of taste. Our grandmothers, they can touch the fabric and say this is good quality fabric, this is not so good. Now if we can train our senses so well, why not train the mind which controls all these senses? That's exactly what we do in meditation. And this is the group instructions to participants for group meditation. The technique that we follow is exactly the same as morning meditation. And in the evening, the session that I talked about for about 15 to 20 minutes in the evening, after we come back from work, we sit down, close our eyes with a suggestion that all impurities and complexities are leaving us in the form of vapor or smoke. And in that space, a transmission of purity is filling us up. It is a very, very palpable feeling, and only when we do it, we begin to appreciate what it actually means. And as I said, the night meditation can be done for about 5-10 minutes before going to sleep, or even for a few minutes, whatever we can. And we come to the results part. After 12 weeks, here are the results. In the Maslach burnout scores, this is what we have. We have emotional exhaustion and depersonalization, which have decreased to an extent that it is statistically significant with a p-value of less than 0.05. Personal accomplishment has improved with a p-value of less than 0.05. This is a very, very interesting phenomenon that we saw with meditation, and there are not many studies which have shown this effect. The blue is the baseline and the yellow is week 12. And let's take a look at what happened to the control group. Here is the control group. These are the ones who did not take meditation, but they were willing to fill out the forms. They helped us out with the study. There was no statistically significant change noticed at all in control group. And we also have emotional wellness assessment that we asked our participants and control group to fill out, and the data is very interesting. Here is what happened to the participant group or the meditation group. Concentration, calmness, clarity of goal, harmony, sleep, joy, positive thinking, self-confidence, honesty to oneself improved with statistical significance, but almost all the parameters improved to a significant degree. And this is the positive parameters. Let's see what happens to the control group. Here's the control group. There is no statistically significant difference that we saw in any of these parameters. Let's move to the next one. This is what happens to the negative attributes. In the meditation group, there was a statistically significant difference that we observed in the meditation group in anger, stress, anxiety, fear, sorrow, irritability, jealousy, addiction, apathy, cynicism, and impulsiveness. This is what happened with the control group. There was no statistically significant difference. And here comes the objective data on telomeres. And it is still work under progress. I have to sit down with my statistician to come to a final analysis. Therefore, I'm not going to give the p-value because I do not have it for sure. But I can show you the actual results of what happened. And as I said, telomere is the tip of our DNA, the cap, similar to the plastic bits on our shoelaces, which shortens with stress. Okay. And I would like to highlight that it was a blinded analysis. Samples were collected. They were sent to University of Pennsylvania, where they did the DNA extraction. And the extracted DNA was sent to University of Washington, Seattle, for the telomere length analysis. None of them knew what the study was about. None of them knew what we are looking for. This was, the samples were numbered randomly. And personally, for me, I wanted it to be done in as crystal clear way as possible without any bias. And if the data comes back, I wanted the data to be as accurate as humanly possible. Here's what the data showed. We have the control group where it improved to a little bit. At baseline, they had a slightly higher telomere length, but their improvement is much smaller. This is when we matched age and gender. If we look at the meditation group, it improved from less than 1 to more than 1.08. To me, this is very significant, and this is a change that we are seeing on the tip of our DNA, which is the telomere. And if meditation can have an effect on our telomeres, if that's what we consider very significant for aging, can meditation help the aging process? I think people who meditate, they look a bit younger and happier. Next. And this is the summary of our results. We have burnout, which improved in the meditation group compared to the control group. Emotional wellness we have an improvement in all 22 parameters in the meditation group. With statistical significance, we had about 19 parameters which improved. And the telomere length shows a significant improvement in the meditation group when age and gender are matched. And as I said, the results are to be finalized. Once we have a final analysis with our statisticians, we can say for sure what the p-value is. Now, I would like to offer a practical meditation session if you are willing.
Definitely.
We can do a quick relaxation followed by meditation. I'll guide the relaxation process. And with regards to meditation, the technique is the same. All it takes is the ability to close the eyes. If we can close our eyes and gently divert our attention to a source of light within the heart and try and stay there for as long as possible. That's all we do in meditation. And at the beginning of meditation, I'll say, please start meditation. At the end of it, I'll say, that's all about it.
Question: do you visualize the light within your heart chakra area, like a diva?
So it's a mere supposition. Do not try to visualize it like a candle or moonlight or sunlight. It's a very, very subtle thing that even if we visualize it, that's not real. We try to tune into our heart and try and feel what happens. It's experience driven, and whatever you feel, be open to any experience that you may have. If you, as I felt during my meditation sessions to begin with, it was not a great experience to begin with, but then it is very possible that you may still have an experience, and if we are sensitive to it, we feel it. Gently close your eyes. Slowly move your attention to your toes and let your toes relax. Let them relax completely. Slowly move your attention to your feet and let your feet relax. Relax your ankles. Let your lower legs relax. Gently relax your knees. Relax your upper legs. Let your hips relax. Very gently move into your belly area and relax. Relax all the muscles of your belly. Very gently move into your chest and let your chest relax. Slowly move your attention to your lower back and let your lower back relax. Relax your upper back. Gently move your attention to your fingers. Let your fingers relax. Relax your hands, your lower arms, let your elbows relax. Relax your upper arms. Let your shoulders relax. Feel as if your shoulders are melting away. Relax your neck. Let your chin relax and your lower jaw. Relax all the muscles of your face. Your lips being very gently closed. Your eyes are very gently shut. Relax your forehead. Relax your temples and the earlobes area. Very slowly move into your mind and let your mind relax. Let it relax completely. Relax the top of your head. And the back of your head. Now feel your whole body relaxed from the top of your head to the tip of your toes. Very gently move into your heart and settle in there. Try and stay there. Focused on the source of light within in a very relaxed way. Please start meditation.
Answer some questions.
Thank you for meditating with me. I know at least some of you must have done some meditation practices before. If you want to add this on to your regular practice, you can do it. I also wanted to let you know that I'll be doing a meditation session at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening and also the day after tomorrow. That's Tuesday and Wednesday. If you would want to meditate from your own home from 7 to 7:30, you're welcome to do so. One thing that I would say is please be guided by your own experience, not by anything else anyone says. Let your heart guide you and you be the judge
of your own experience. If it is something that you feel is right for you, carry on with it. If it is something that doesn't feel right for you, then it's okay. Questions, please.
Okay, I have, this is like my first experience, so, is it okay to normally do it sitting? Does it really matter what position you're in?
There is actually a very nice video on the position in which we sit down for meditation. Please sit in a comfortable position that you can hold on for about half an hour. If it is convenient for you to sit in a chair for half an hour, carry on with it. If it is convenient for you to sit down with your legs folded, that's okay. But the only suggestion is, do not try to do this lying down because you can go to sleep. You can go to bed in that state of mind, but meditation usually can put you to sleep.
You know, I guess maybe it's the power of suggestion, but my mind still kept on looking for a light within a heart-shaped structure. Is that the right thing, or?
It's okay. It's okay. There comes a time when all the activity of the mind settles down, and when it settles down, we feel what it is. But it's okay. One of my friends who's in the medical profession, he asked me, okay, what chamber should I focus on? Is it the right ventricle or the left ventricle? So it's very normal. If we can meditate on the point at which we feel the beat in that area, that's all.
Do you recommend feeling the beat? Because sometimes I feel like the heart.
If you feel it, that's fine. Yeah. But in that area.
But that's focusing on that particular area.
In a gentle and relaxed way. Yeah.
Is there somewhere we can get more information on heartfulness?
Next slide, please. Yeah. There is a website called heartfulness.org, and please take a look and see if that is something which appeals to you. And as I said, for me, it was very helpful, and it helped me in more than one way, I should say, more than many ways. As with anything, it is the experience which matters, and some people like pizza, some people don't like it. If you like pizza, you try it. If you don't like it, that's okay. Yeah.
Did you try many different forms of meditation before you found one that was a fit for you?
Actually, my dad has been practicing it for about 50 years. I kept watching my dad, the same one. And this is the only meditation that I practice so far. And therefore, I do not have much information or idea about other forms of meditation. This is something which I tried, I liked it, and I did not have to look anywhere else.
So when you say you were doing what your dad did, he did this heartfulness type of meditation?
Yeah.
And is this your website, or?
This is, my dad is just one of the trainers in heartfulness meditation. There's a lot of people practicing heartfulness meditation worldwide. But just because a lot of people practice it, it doesn't make it, great. Just because a lot of people practice it, if it is helpful in your practice, it is great for you. And that's the way I look at things. And it's present in more than 110 countries all over the world, offered free of cost. I personally feel that this is one system of meditation where there is no looking for name, fame, or prosperity in any way. It is offered free of cost to anyone who is willing to try it. And if you have time to try it, and if you're willing to try it, you try it and test it. If it is something that works for you, carry on with it. If it doesn't, it's okay.
like to just give an affirmation to you that you are the epitome in your manner of speaking, your calmness, your balance, that has to be working for you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is there any difference between group meditation and individual meditation for your results in research?
That's a wonderful question. We are still trying to get that data. But we found that people who were meditating in the group, personally, they found it very beneficial. And meditation with the trainer is beneficial. And as I said, the gym effect and the trainer effect. When we are in a group doing the same activity together, it is very possible that having that group creates an effect. And when you have a trainer asking you to do well in a gym, you do well. And I think it's a similar effect. Yes,
In your
please.
study, when you talked about the positive effects in all three areas, it was over a 12-week period. How often were they meditating in that 12-week period?
So it was a daily meditation.
Daily, once a day or
So
sometime?
in the morning they were meditating. They were asked to meditate for about 20 minutes in the morning. And being in the medical profession, it may not always be possible. And we took that into consideration. So we said, this is the practice. Do the best that you can. And even if it is for 5 minutes, please do it. That's what we ask them to do. And the other aspect is the attitude with which we do our practice. That's very important. It's, say we go to hospital or work every day in a grumpy mood, we become really good at being grumpy. And we go to work in a positive mood on a daily basis. It doesn't matter. The first day it's really hard to be positive, but if we can try to create that attitude also gets stronger. The same applies to meditation. We meditate with a positive attitude, with a good attitude. Let me do the best that I can. It doesn't matter whether I am successful or not, but I put in my best effort every single day that I do. Whether it is for 5 minutes or for 15 minutes, I do it. When I started practicing meditation, I was only able to do it for about 20 minutes to begin with. And slowly I increased it to about 30 minutes and then 45 minutes. Yes, please.
What was the time that we meditated tonight? I have no idea.
It was just over half an hour, about 30, 35 minutes. Yes, please.
Where do you find a trainer? Is it through the organization?
You can find it through the organization, or one is standing right in front of you.
And how can they get in touch with you, Dr.
Oh, I have I should have put in my email. It's DR as in doctor, Thimmapuram, that's T for Tom, H for Harry, I for India, M for Mike, A for Alpha, P for Papa or P for Paul, URAM at yahoo.com. My friend helped me out there.
Is this study that you did the first of its kind in this area?
In this area, yes. Yes, please.
I just wanted to thank you for the wonderful meditation. And my question was, because of the results of your study, has the hospital done anything to help the nurses to continue with the process of, growing with this need that, all nurses need to fill themselves with healing with such a stressful job?
Yeah, that's a very nice question, and it is in the process. So we were asked to present our study in one of our grand rounds where there's going to be a lot of nurses and physicians who will be attending the grand round presentation. I was also asked by our leaders in the administration department to provide more details, and there is a plan to incorporate it in our daily schedule, or as I said, in maybe once a week meditation session. Yes, please.
To put the results of the telomere
Mm-hmm.
length of growth from this study in a perspective, is there anything else that might do that for somebody? Like how would this relate to another practice or another way of promoting health?
So there is data on telomeres, and it can get affected in a positive way with lifestyle changes. In a positive way, say one starts to exercise. The other factors which play a role is health conditions. If the data that we have is especially on cancers and inflammatory conditions where telomere length has been shown to significantly decrease with major health conditions. And that's one of the reasons why we age match the controls and the participant group so that we can compare like with like. And when we compare both groups according to age and gender, age is between 24 to 33 with an average age of 28 in the participant group and an age group of average age 28 in the control group, exactly age matched. This is what we found. Yeah, thank you.
And what were the female and the male? Were they equal number?
They were equal in number. Roughly 45-55% in both the groups. So it was equal.
Very interesting. I just have to share something that I met a doctor from Penn State Hershey who happens to be my daughter's friend's father. And he teaches at the Penn State Hershey. And one of the things he was trying to do with his students who get burnt out with projects, with things, especially medical students, and he suggested to them that one of the ways that you all can have very balanced thing is meditation. And the entire class just refused, said, are you kidding us? We have so much work to do. We are medical students. So he was discussing that with me. And after listening to this presentation, I think you probably would be the right person to convince those medical students that it would be good for them to meditate.
Actually, the medical students who come over to York, they meditate with me on and off. I give them a flavor of what it is like to relax to begin with.
Yes.
And when they get the flavor of what it feels like to relax. Because this is an experiential field, and no matter what I say, and no matter how best I try to convince someone, it's really hard to go through it.
This doctor was telling me that he says, I have these students who are, they're all type A personalities. They're driven, they want to get things done, and they feel this is something that they don't have time for. And that's how they argued with him. So, and I did talk about heartfulness to him, and I said, if you ever need, we can come and do a session, to so maybe I'll get in touch with you.
Yeah, Dr. Charles Palmer, he is a neonatologist in Hershey. He's I think fellowship program director. He does meditation sessions at Hershey. I think it is catching up. There's a lot of change that we are noticing in the hospitals. Everywhere, there's a lot of change that we're noticing. And I think it's in a good way. Because if people can realize that there is something that they can do for themselves, and by doing good for them, it is not only a benefit for them, but it is a benefit for people who are around them.
I just started just like you when I was 18.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gray.
Okay.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for coming. I just want to sort of just wrap it up. Dismiss us in this sort of spiritual, positive energy. May the stillness of the Spirit descend upon you and give you peace. May the energy of our eagerness and desire to learn embrace you. May you know and feel through all levels of your being that you are loved. May you be a voice of eternal and universal teaching. May the depths of your life experience and the fullness of your learned wisdom find its complete expression today. May you receive from all of us in this circle the energizing breath of life and love. May you know that you will never be the same people because of you. Each of you are a blessing and a gift to all of us. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.